Hello. Good morning. It's not morning. It's 9:32 p.m., which is way past my bedtime. But I just wanted to capture the moment. I just got back from a burning bowl ceremony, burning bowl ritual, and it was hosted by or led by Darren and Lola Wright at the Space Between. I shouted out Lola in a previous episode. She used to lead the Bodhi Spiritual Center here in Chicago, which I went to. And I just feel moved. It was such a beautiful time. And I know that ritual is something I've really been missing. Ritual, especially in community with others. It's something I've been missing in my life a lot. And I was just reminded about how beautiful it is. That's really it. I know I've touched on this, but I grew up very religious. I feel like I'm already sick of hearing myself talk about this, but hopefully you're not. But grew up super religious and would go to church, which is its own form of ritual and communal rituals. And there was so much that I loved about it, but as I mentioned in past episodes, it was also so is marred the word I'm looking for? It was so mixed up with so much fear and unpleasantness and unhealthy beliefs. And I found that after I kind of left religion, which left is a strong word. When people ask me if I'm Christian today, I say sometimes, some days. I really like the line that Glennon Doyle uses, which is, I believe in everything a little bit, but nothing all the way. But after I, for all intents and purposes, left the church, I didn't swing the total opposite direction, speaking of pendulum swinging, in the sense that I was never an atheist or God isn't real. But I did stop going to church and I stopped holding to a lot of the dogmatic beliefs that I believed, which I think was really necessary and healthy. But something that I lost in the process of stopping all the religious stuff was that sense of ritual and community. And I think my spirituality and my spiritual life and my faith, so to speak, has been sort of a question mark for the last few years. And I'm just starting to really find my groove again and find what feels true and healthy to me. And tonight was just really beautiful and really needed. I think I went through a phase after my being all in on church stuff where when I would see people gathering, not even necessarily in a Christian context, but even in a more generally spiritual space or a yoga space, anytime people were gathered in ritual, I would almost poo-poo it or look down on it. And at my worst, I'm not proud of this, but I would really look down on people that needed or sought out ritual. It was I think because I was grieving my own loss of that kind of ritual in my life and knowing that I could never go back to that specific kind of ritual and not knowing that healthy ritual that felt good for me was available to me. I think I almost as a coping mechanism was oh, if you go to that kind of stuff, that's kind of sad. And people who are sad and broken and confused go to things like that. And I feel really again, not proud to say that. And that's not how I felt consistently and not how I felt for long. But again, like in probably my worst moments of deconstructing and figuring out life after church, that I would think that from time to time. And I think I would kind of lump any kind of ritual into a category of culty or something like that. And I'm just realizing that's not happening. Not all ritual is bad, and that includes Christian ritual, and I know that now and believe that. But I think a big reason I looked down on it, and not even looked down on it, but honestly was scared of it and was scared to return to any kind of communal ritual, was because I didn't trust myself. And that's the truth. I think at the time when I was avoiding ritual, I would have told you that I don't trust other people. Like I would believe that the people leading rituals, whether it was a pastor, a priest, or just any kind of spiritual figure, coach, whatever, I would say I didn't trust them because maybe they're going to try to get me to join their church or their cult and they're going to ask me to give them a lot of money or whatever, like just super jaded. But something I've been working through the last few years is realizing that I can trust myself. Like I don't need spiritual leaders or religious leaders or leaders period to be 100% ethical or 100% on the exact same page as me, or never say or do something that I find inappropriate, because I can trust me. Like if I'm going to a church or a ritual where there's some kind of leader or spiritual leader, I can trust that if they start to ask me for a lot of money or ask me to do things that are inappropriate, I'm going to know this isn't for me. This is not what I'm looking for. Therefore, I don't need to like throw out the baby with the bathwater. You know, I don't need to say no to all ritual, all form or aspects of religion or spirituality just because I've been burned in the past, or because I didn't know how to determine safe and healthy environments from unsafe and unhealthy environments. I have those tools now. Anyway, I've been in the last few years, and especially the last year or two, very intentionally inviting this idea of like magic back into my life. Magic, synchronicities, faith, that kind of thing. And I may do a separate episode on that, but I just had an experience at this burning bowl. Like I've sort of thrown it out into the universe or to God, like give me these little like nudges, these like God winks, as me and my friends call them. Like signs that there's something more happening right beneath the surface. And because life is just way more fun when you choose to believe that there's more happening beneath the surface. So that's something I've been like willingly opting back into, but in a healthier way than I did when I was younger. So when I went to this burning bowl ceremony, I feel like it's a funny phrase. We started on yoga mats and most of us were on our backs, just kind of settling into the space. And it was interesting. I laid down, and while I'm not anti-religion, I certainly am not like, I don't have like my nose in a Bible. I don't generally read the Bible or think about the Bible that often, aside from, not that often. But for whatever reason, when I laid down on my mat, the Bible verse came into my mind, the one that goes, and I only know the very beginning, the one that starts with, where two or three are gathered, then there also I will be or something. I just butchered the end of that. But the line that starts with where two or three are gathered came into my head, and I was like, this is beautiful. It felt like a healing moment where this line randomly popped into my head, and I was like, it felt like redemptive in a way, because I was experiencing communal ritual in a way that felt healthy, that I was opting into, that I was there for, not because I felt like I had to in order to get to heaven or not be punished, but just because I wanted to be with humans, marking the start of a new year. And then we moved through a little meditation, and like the main event was we all wrote things down on this little piece of paper that we wanted to let go, things that we wanted to let go of in order to create space for new things for 2024. And we wrote our things down on our paper, and then we each went up one by one to Lola, who was leading the event, or this portion of the event, and she took our paper and like stuck it in a candle, a flame, and it like burst into flames, and it's like very cool, a very nice ritual and way to like visually and energetically release things, let go of things. And as we're all walking up, which also kind of reminded me of church, but again in a healthy way, just in the sense that we were all lining up, almost like a communion kind of situation. Lola would say, often take a moment with the person and at least take a deep breath, look them in the eye, and would sometimes say something like, are you ready to let this go? Or can I burn this? Whatever, something to like mark the moment. And when it was my turn to go up, I handed her my paper, looked her in the eye, and then she said something like, you know, in many traditions, it's often said that where two or three are gathered. And then I didn't even hear the rest, so I still don't know how that phrase ends. But I was like, that is so weird. That's so weird. Like that, I am choosing to see that as a very obvious sign, a synchronicity, a little magic that God or the universe or something or somebody like energetically placed that line in that room that night, or in both of our minds. It was just bizarre, and it was really cool. And I feel like I'm still grounded and also have faith. And I don't know that I could have said that in previous similar experiences, meaning when like shit like this would happen in a religious environment, all the meaning that I would create around it was just really extreme and unhealthy, and I think is a conversation for another time. It just felt really cool. I think that's all I want to share. I just wanted to mark the moment and appreciate and like express gratitude for women, Darren and Lola, two Chicago icons, by the way, holding space for people and creating these rituals that I think are very much a lost art these days. And I do think it's hard to find rituals and communities where you are not then asked to do things that are less than ideal, whether it's like devote a large amount of your life or resources, often financial, to like it's hard to find non-culty spaces that offer rituals like that. So I'm grateful for them, and I'm grateful that I have the tools now to be able to participate in those things without the fear of losing myself and losing my well-being And that's it. I need to now somehow wind down. This is the problem with like going out late, is then I feel like I need like an hour or two to wind down, but I need to get up early to work tomorrow. What am I to do? I might need to take an edible. CBD, 1-to-1. That sounds like a good idea. Okay, I'm going to go do that. Love you all. Bye. I forgot to say, share this episode with a friend. Please and thank you. It really helps. And I'm really comfortable with self-promotion, so I'm going to keep asking you. Okay. Love you. Bye.